Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Sunday afternoon, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with stress. And if you're quite normal, you will have stress every day. And, it's one of the things that I love to talk about because for some reason, people seem to think that, everybody except them has stress. Nobody has it except them. And let me put it that way. And it's not true. We all have stress every day, and it's how we cope with it that makes our lives happier and more productive. And we're going to be talking a little bit today about stress and enthusiasm. And did you know that even enthusiasm is stressful? Right? And I want to talk a little bit about that and for you to understand that you are not alone. We all are here to work with everybody. Dear Mama Sal is not about me. It is about a group of people who get together 3 times a week and help one another. We hold our hands and help each other through good, bad, and the ugly. Hello there, Jeannie. Jeannie, for example, who's just signed on, she went through a horrific fire last year and just did an amazing job of staying away from the blame game and just dealt with what was going on and dealt with it on a day-to-day basis. What is important to me today? And I am certain was unbelievably stressed for so much of the time and yet managed to keep it under control. And if you can imagine waking up tomorrow and having nothing left, basically, that's what happened to Jeannie. All right. One day she had everything around her and all her comforts, home comforts and everything. And the next minute, she was literally standing in the clothes that she was wearing. And that was, and whatever she could get out of the house in a hurry, which number one was her dog and her husband, obviously. But, it was just like her life just changed in a heartbeat. And I, funnily enough, or not funny enough, found that the same thing happened to me just a few months later. I had a fire in my house and was displaced for 6 months. So I totally understand um, what it was like for me, which gives me some understanding of what it must have been like for Jeannie. So look at this and go, it's not what life throws at you, it's how you deal with what life throws at you, all right? And I found a really nice quote, and it said, put yourself into life. Never lose your openness and your childish enthusiasm. How many of you have a big kid inside you? And if so, it is probably one of the greatest ways to reduce your stress. If you still got a big kid inside you, then you have a very, very good buffer for stress. Yeah, Jeannie's saying she wore other people's clothes for days. I was given a toothbrush, toothpaste, etc. Yes, I want to tell you, I slept the night at my neighbor's, and they gave me clothes um, to to wear. And I drove away from their house and straight to Walmart and bought myself um, clothes, toothbrush, toothpaste, all the basics. You don't, it's funny what you buy, isn't it? But, I literally just went there and went, okay, what do I need to survive a week? And it was quite honestly, I am amazed how that happened. So we'll be talking about enthusiasm and also why it's a really good buffer for stress. And also, I want to talk a little bit to you about misplaced enthusiasm and how that can cause you stress as well. I've got a couple of case study type things that I want to share with you, things that I've heard about this week or are happening to me this week. And I want you to think through how you would react to that. Remember to follow us on Facebook and Twitter because that's where I update you. And just to let all the regular people know if they're signing into this, that I will not be available next Friday. I have a big function here at my house, and I'll be talking about that in a minute, on Thursday. And I'm pretty certain I will be exhausted at the end of that. But then I also have a celebration of life to go to on Friday afternoon. And, and that will go into the early evening. So I will not be available on Friday to do any broadcasts. So we'll be doing the Sunday broadcast as usual. So just a heads up on that one. I want to say that I want to make sure you all know, for those of you who knew Nana, it was her birthday on the 2nd. Isabel had a birthday yesterday. Kimmy has a birthday Tuesday, I think, on the 9th, and Sandy on the 10th. So we got birthdays coming up. And if there are any other birthdays that I haven't mentioned for this week, please let me know so that we can add them to our list. Let me know at DearMamaSal@gmail.com. And, Jeannie's saying the big kid in me is my creative part. Yes, I make sure that if I'm stressed, that I will go and be creative. Or if I'm stressed, the thing that I learned from Benji is I start to clean or bake. How many of you go baking when you're stressed? Quite often I say to myself, if I catch myself baking, I go, whoa, wait a minute, what am I stressed about? For those of you who were with me on Friday when we made those pasties, and weren't they great? They are no more. They are the story of the disappearing pasties. I made, as you remember, I made one beef one and one chicken one. And I had the beef one on Friday night after the broadcast, and it was great. And I had the chicken one yesterday. And I was a little concerned for the amount of fat that's in pastry. I don't mind telling you that was part of that. And I thought, that is silly. Why don't I just enjoy them? But I could taste the fat in it. You know what I mean? It was So obviously not something I want to do every day. But surely once a week would be wonderful. They were really tasty. The other thing that surprised me was how filling they are. And then that reminded me that really the reason Cornish pasties were originally made was so that the tin miners could take food with them down into the mines. And the Cornish pasty, if it's pre-cooked like that, it was very easy to heat up on the lights that they carried with them. Does that make sense? They could just put it on the light and it would warm up the pasty for them to have, something to eat while they were down in the mine. And that was awesome. And by the way, the cinnamon wrapped apple pie, if you like, cinnamon roll wrapped. Yeah, what we did was take cinnamon roll pastry and fill it with apples and raisins. I want to tell you something. Every night I've been having one of those, and definitely do again. So just to let you know, if you missed that, please make sure you check it out because it was fun to do, and it certainly was well worth doing. I definitely will not be shying away from pastry as much as I have been. Yeah, Jodie's saying, I loved how you use puff pastry. I'll be trying that. Funny enough, to me, anything to do with meat, I prefer puff pastry, just a personal preference. And if you want to, and it's something that I really wanted to say, if you want to do a stew or something and have a puff pastry and not have too much of it, think about just getting getting the top of something like this and just cutting out some rounds, baking them all together, and then freezing them. And then just as you're warming up a stew or something, just, warm up some puff pastry to go with it. So that works well. By the way, how many of you did remember to turn your clocks back last night? I don't know about you, but it totally messed my sleep pattern. I don't know, and we know that's psychological. Because 1 minute I'm going, oh, goody, I've got an extra hour of sleep. I wonder how many of you felt that as well. And the next minute, I was in big trouble because it was 4 o'clock in real time, and I still wasn't asleep. And then it was 5 o'clock. And then it was 6 o'clock, and I'm going, should I just get up now? And then I went, no, you should not get up now. You should just go to sleep and get a good 6 hours in, and then you'll be fine. So I always used to say that when I was a performer, that if I could get 5 hours sleep, I could function well on 5 hours sleep if I needed to, knowing that tonight I can sleep very well. So this is good. But I wonder if anybody else had a difficult night last night because of the time change. All right, Jeannie's saying I did. Then she changed the clocks and then woke up in the early hour and got the dog up too early. Yes, I was amazed actually how many things I had to turn back. I still haven't turned back my car, the clock in my car. But I realized, and I just thought there was one other clock I might have missed. I just realized how many clocks I've got that are, not connected to the internet. Oh, Jody's saying she didn't sleep well either. Well, hello, it's that time of the year. And, just know you're not alone, Jody. And I know you probably thought, gosh, uh, maybe you were in sympathy for the fact that I wasn't doing well, Jody. I'd like to think that. I found this. It said laughter is like a windshield wiper. It doesn't stop the rain, but it allows us to keep going. So our enthusiasm for a fun life is a really good buffer. Do things that you find fun and be enthusiastic about doing those things. Really, really important, because if you just keep doing humdrum, 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 it's going to be not a fun life. I ask myself every day, what would give me happiness today? And I will probably think, well, I really would like to do X, Y, and Z, but I haven't got time. And I go, make time. And then I set my watch. I've got a timer on my watch, and I go, okay, you can have 1 hour to play. And then you can get back to the humdrum stuff. Now, I normally end up doing 2. Because you know me, and the big kid in me really enjoys life. But it's just like, but then I end up getting a lot more done because I've started with something that energizes me, that I'm enthusiastic about. So, do you understand that even though I had less sleep than normal last night, I'm feeling fine? All right? I'm feeling fine. I don't feel that I've, sort of failed to have enough sleep or whatever. I just, had less than normal. And that is also because I'm enthusiastic about what I'm doing. When I say enthusiastic, I'm pretty sure that it messed with my whole plan for doing a broadcast today to wake up that late. But on the other hand, I know myself well enough that, hey, I can do this. I just need to do what's important. Wow, interesting. Jeannie's saying that York's daughter, that York being her husband, had to have 2 important operations on her hand and elbow. And in order to have them, the doctor said she must stop smoking. She's doing great, 17 days and getting better. That is great to hear. And interesting, Jeannie. I don't know anybody that does that. She's an American sign interpreter, and she needs her hands. Yes, very important. By the way, talking about that, I have to say that my hands, with this incredible amount of rain that we had that came in and is still here, by the way, has really been a problem for my arthritis. Is anybody else struggling with it? It is just like, wow. It's really been a challenge for me to cope with. I didn't realize that I've got more arthritis in my body this year than I did previously. And the reason I know that is because it's hurting now. I just want to read you something. Oh, interesting. Jeannie's saying that her her daughter-in-law once signed for Bishop Tutu from South Africa. That's interesting. All right, now then, I did talk to some of you about the fact that I'd had a discussion with somebody, and we were talking about why it's so important to be able to discuss opposing views, and why you need to make sure that you do it, because one of the things that it does for you is it gives you obviously more information, but it also gives you the skill of listening. And so I wanted to say that it is important for you to understand this, right? So shielding students from uncomfortable discussions, right, doesn't do them any good. It is really important that we teach our children and grandchildren to not only have opposing views and be able to discuss them, but also to be able to challenge your views, and to do so in a polite and dignified way. And that is called critical thinking, all right? Because if we do that, we will all learn, and we will not need to attack one another. We'll just find different points of view. And it's okay to have different points of view. And that's difficult. It's very stressful for a lot of people. The other thing that we found is that, some people just go at things like a bull in a china shop. And that is sad, very sad. But it is something that happens. Some of you probably have been stressed this week when you heard about that situation at the concert that happened, where there wasn't enough security to hold the crowd back. And they actually broke through the line and just started running for the stage, and in so doing, people got trampled and killed. And so you look at it and go, that is so incredibly stressful. But on the other hand, do we know that because of that, things will be changed in holding public events in a heartbeat? Yeah. And Jenny's saying there is a huge problem right now in schools. Some folks are criticizing any opposing views and not allowing different views. Yes, if you don't allow different views on subjects, then obviously you are then end up with a cult almost, right? And so it's very important that we allow. By the way, do any of you get a little stressed when you hear what I call the in words? How many of you understand what woke means? WOKE. And I say that because it started to frustrate me. I kept hearing about woke on the news and things, and I'm going, I don't really know what that means. And so I wondered whether any of you have that same feeling. I'm not quite sure what it means, quite honestly. And what I did was I did a bit of research into it. And if you can possibly link it to awaken, I woke up, all right, like I was awakened to something. It makes it something you won't forget, right? So woke is I woke up to the fact that there is trouble and injustice in society, especially in terms of racism, of course. And so that's what woke is. So I thought, if we could link it to something else, I woke up to that fact, right, that there is injustice and society, and that there is racism, even though people pretend there isn't. And, how do you feel, for example, about a situation where I'm trying to remember his name, but the black man that was killed by three people, three white people doing sort of patrols in their neighborhood, where they hunted him down. And all he was guilty of was jogging in their neighborhood. Scary stuff, isn't it? And now they have a jury that is, 11 white people and one person that is of color. And you go, where is that a jury of his peers? You wouldn't allow that in the opposite way. And so I think we need to wake up in big time and make sure that we are equal under the law, not just some of us, and that we are not privileged under the law. How about this one? How would you like somebody to say of you, there is an immense childlike enthusiasm about him. It's inspiring when you work with a 77-year-old who has the kind of love and excitement still in him about what he does. And that was actually said about Paul Newman. And they said each day is like the first day of his career. He just was so excited about everything. And I think that's wonderful. All right. Interesting. Jeannie's saying the work culture is creating more dissension. I agree with them, or either you agree with them or you're called racist. Thanks, Jody. Ahmad Aubrey. It was the guy that was chased down and shot. Hunted down, I think, would be the correct thing. So think about that, right? I think the woke culture is, like all things in life, right? It's pushed the envelope to awaken us to a certain extent. Like anything else, if you go totally overboard, it then becomes something that society cannot handle. But it's a bit like women getting the vote, right? We always start with it being that it's seen to be a wrong thing, but then you end up, if you get enough people understanding it, that you get there. So be gentle with it. Have your own views. Do you think that there is racism? Let me ask you that question. Pretty stressful question for a lot of people. But do you think there is racism? And if so, do you think we need to be more aware of it? Let's hear your views on that. Now, one of the things I wanted to do just before I get on to the main subject today was to say, is anybody else finding that seem to get more plugs today, in sockets, and whether they are USB sockets or regular plugs, I seem to be overwhelmed with things that need to be plugged in. And I wondered whether I'm the only one. It's like there seem to be so many things to plug in now, so that just about every outlet I have has to have a surge protected power bar attached to it, because there are so many things that need to be plugged in. And I wondered whether I was alone in that, or whether you are finding that as well. Let me know. And if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to leave us comments as well. Okay, so now I wanted to chat to you about the fact that on Thursday, I've got a whole group of neighbors coming over. How many of you would find that stressful? Okay, so all right, Jeannie is saying about the conversation about work, she's saying, I disagree. Women getting the vote is a good thing. Yeah, but it wasn't considered a good thing at the time. I assure you, an awful lot of men didn't think it was a good thing. Dividing people by race is wrong. I quite agree. The woke culture is calling white people oppressors. Yes, they were and have been. I think that's a reality that we need to own. Some children are feeling bad with this. Yes, well, that doesn't mean that we should shield them from that reality, though, Jeannie. All right. So this is about and we need children to be critical thinkers. And so I believe that we need to let them know that these things are around us every day. Did you teach your children about racism? Or did you teach them that white people are entitled by the role model that you set? I don't know. You're right. And this is what you need, a lot of people need to look at. Yeah, Jody's saying we need to be more aware, and it's frustrating that racism still exists. How many more tragic examples need to be made? History keeps repeating itself, and we aren't learning. Hi, Dee. Good to meet you. I'm not quite sure what you're first in, but if you keep repeating that, we're going to need to put you on timeout, Dee. All right, so interesting that Jeannie says she loves entertaining, so it wouldn't be bad stress for her at all. And I wondered if any of you would find that stressful. I got about 12 people coming, I think. And the interesting thing is that it's going to be a potluck. Now, if it's a potluck, that means that I don't have to worry too much. All right? And I think that's an interesting thing, right? Which is, if I worry about everything being perfect, it will be stressful. But if I just go, hey, it's a potluck, I just offered my place as the venue, then everything is at a different level. Does that make sense? So I can have enthusiasm for the get together and not worry too much about anything. But here's what I realize as well, that if you are a neat freak and your house is perfectly tidy and organized, you probably won't worry at all. But what about, like myself, you are still not unpacked from the fire, and that your house looks a bit like well, it actually isn't too bad, but it isn't completely sorted yet. Uh, do you understand? Depending which way I look at it, it will add to my stress. Jeannie's saying potluck is easier. You set out dishes, napkins, etc., and enjoy the variety. Exactly, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I also am not quite sure how many people are coming, and I don't really mind. Do you know what I mean? It's just like I'll just plan for this many, and if more come, that's fine, and if less come, that's also all right. So what makes it stressful? What makes entertaining stressful? I'm not stressed out about COVID because everybody in my little neighborhood here, they are all vaccinated, double vaccinated, and we're all old farts, so that's pretty good. So that isn't a worry for me, and it'll be the first time I've entertained really with a lot of people here since I moved here. So can you see what I'm saying? That it would be very stressful for me if everything was a total mess. I'm looking around and I'm going, I've actually done fairly well. You know what I mean? And especially in the last month, I've got things put away a lot more. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. That is an ongoing process for me. Every week I'm doing that. Oh, interesting. That's interesting to hear. Jeannie's saying stress for her is if she gives a specific time and everybody is very late. Yes, different people's idea of time is exceedingly stressful. I'm a time freak. If I say 6 o'clock, I mean 6 o'clock. If somebody invites me to be somewhere at 7 o'clock, I will be there at 7 o'clock on the dot. Even if it means I arrive slightly early and I walk around or something. So to me, that is, so now then, Jeannie, that's a great thing to discuss. How do you protect yourself from that? And how would you recommend I protect myself from that? Because what we do when we talk about being enthusiastic for life and knowing that is it part of life that some people are going to be really late? Yes. I had in a function once, I can remember when I was in my 20s, I invited a whole lot of people to my house. And can you believe it? I don't know what happened. It was just when not one person showed up. I had about 6 people due to arrive and nobody showed up. You can imagine that was heartbreaking. So to me, it's important to know that those things can happen. Yeah, right. And Jeannie's saying it used to happen to her, but now she stopped it. And the way she stopped it was by saying, okay, we wait 15 minutes. Whoever isn't here by then, we're going to start eating. I was at a function a couple of years ago before COVID, Christmas thing, and we were all invited 6 o'clock for dinner. And we were still waiting at 9 o'clock because one person hadn't arrived. And I looked at the hostess and said, I just want to tell you, I'm going to need to leave in an hour. So if we don't start sitting down to eat pretty soon, I'm going to need to leave before I eat. Is that what you want? And she said, oh, but so-and-so hasn't arrived yet. I said, that is not a reason to punish everybody else. Right? Why are you punishing everybody else? Because one person is still wrapping presents or doing whatever. That should not be a reason to punish those who were on time. And they've been waiting 3 hours to eat. Think about that. So to me, I quite agree with you. I've always said that. I know that when I used to do seminars and things, and it used to start at 9 o'clock, I would start at 9 o'clock. And then, I can remember somebody coming in once at 9:05 and saying, why have you started? I'm only 5 minutes late. And I said, the interesting word was the last one, man. And I just carried on. And I said, and I said when I was doing that, I refuse to keep punishing people who are polite enough to be on time. All right? And I think we do. I think we punish people who are polite enough to be on time. And I agree with you, Jeannie. I don't like to do that either. So if you know the people that are coming, is it easier to be enthusiastic than, a lot of people that you might not know? And that's the other thing I thought about was, hey, everybody that's coming, I know them. I've met them all, and I've met them. I know some don't get on too well with others, but that's their problem, not mine. But it's just like, hey, it makes me enthusiastic to know that I know the people. I also know that even if my house was perfectly unpacked and tidy as a pin, is it true that some people will judge it anyway? All right. I want you to think about that. All right. Right? That it doesn't matter whether my house is tidy or not. People are going to judge it. And you see, once you deal with it, once you see that reality, then it's easier to be enthusiastic and not stress out too much. Jody's saying it's a great point. Why punish the ones who are on time? Being late once is one thing, but beyond that, it's a habit. Exactly. I remember I was married at one time to somebody who thought being late was socially acceptable, and it wasn't just a little bit late; it was seriously late. Hi, Eric. Good to see you. She's saying that when I invite my family on Saturdays for lunch, we set a time, and it's so important that all my children come on time. Yes, I think teaching our family and friends about time, respecting time, is really important. Now, I had a situation that I wonder what you would do, and this is one of those things that I like to talk about. Where one of the people I invited, one of the couples, have decided to go down to the States this weekend, this week, in fact. And then another of my neighbors contacted me and said, do you think we should cancel this and have it another time because they've gone to the States? And I said, feel free. In other words, I don't want to do any work. Feel free to contact everybody and ask them what they think, and I'll go with the flow. But my personal opinion is they knew this event was going on and they chose to go to the States anyway. Why would we punish everybody else? Can you see that? That's just my view. My answer is, hey, they knew, and they didn't contact me and say, hey, I'm sorry or whatever. They did it, obviously to this other person. But, my feeling is, hey, they're adults. They made a choice. And I don't think I'm being unfriendly. Why would I mess up everybody else's plans? How many people will already have bought the food that they want to cook for Thursday? How many people will maybe already cooked it and got it in the freezer? All those sort of things, all right? So I look at this and go, no, I don't want to punish everybody else. Now, am I likely to have made not too much of a friend of that person who asked me? Maybe, not my problem. She asked for my opinion and I gave it. Right. And Jeannie's saying, I would not cancel because one couple didn't show up. If the time is okay with me. Hang on a second. Yeah, and it's just a get together. It's not like earth shattering. We do it every now and then. So if, I'm sure we'll do another one in the middle of winter or something. And so I'm not, it's like, why would I change that? They made a choice. That's their right. I don't think all my plans should change because of it. Now, I'm also saying, and think about that. If my house looked like Martha Stewart had been here for a week and, really had a go at it, you do know that people would still judge it, right? And so to me, it's like I'm learning not to worry too much about that. Ah, interesting. Jeannie's saying, if I'm the hostess, I get to say when and how. Yeah. I must admit that being more tidy now has definitely caused me less stress. What I'm working on at the moment is cleaning up all my counter areas. Hang on. I'm trying to make as much clear space as possible so that when this happens on Thursday, there's lots of room for people to put down stuff. I will lay the table for 6 in case we end up. I realized, I didn't realize this before, but I can actually seat 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, at least 12 people in my house. I can have them sit down. It's amazing. Oh, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 people. Why? I can sit 6 in my dining room table. I can sit, my living room area is close enough that you can actually lean forward and eat off the coffee tables. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. Well, 4 to be comfortable. I've got, that desk that pops up. I can put 2 or 3 other people eating around that. And then I've got 3 bar stools here, the other side of this big unit, and then myself. And I probably will stay in the kitchen. Yeah, Jeannie's saying it took her many weeks to get rid of the boxes in her kitchen. I feel so much better now the boxes are gone. Downstairs, I still have boxes. Yes, I'm still working on the last room now, Jeannie. But I want to tell you that was the first, when I came in here, I don't know about you, but the boxes were above my head, quite a bit above my head. And they were 2 deep and above my head right here, or 3 deep even. No, I think they must have been in the center. So at least 2 deep, but well above my head. And then in the room behind here, my kitchen, which is where I have the fireplace, that was just solid. And that had a lot of kitchen boxes in it as well. So I thought I'd like to talk to you a little bit, if any of you are interested, and we're talking about getting enthusiastic about how many of you are working at decluttering this winter? Because, it's a great game to play, and I am playing that game. And I found a really great tip this week, which I thought I might share with you. And I've been I don't know if you've noticed, but I've sort of cleaned up a lot of stuff there on my sink area. I've put a lot of stuff into my greenhouse window. But here's what they said. And it is brilliant. Let me think. What have I got here? Here we go. I've got a basket here full of junk. All right. Do any of you relate to that? Obviously, that's going to get put away. But here's what they said. I'm going to take the basket so we can see it. All right. In this basket, I have got a feather duster. Funny enough, a paintbrush. I have got a glass with some note paper in it, some receipts, and some old glucose testing stuff. I have got a mug with pens, another mug with pens. I have got tape, cherry seeds, more note paper, this box, paper, a lid, and some Kleenex. Now, right next to it, I've got even more junk. Here we go. Hold on, people. We might as well. Oh, that wasn't very clever. I have no idea what that is. All right, so here we go. So here's what they've said. If you want to clear this up and know what they're saying is put absolutely everything away that you do not use on a daily basis. All right? If you don't use it on a daily basis, then put it away. So I'm going to look behind me now. You know, I use my Keurig every day. I use my coffee every day. And I make my lattes with milk powder. So that needs to stay. And I've got there my, what do you call it? Sweetener, the salted caramel. All right, so you understand those are all things I use every day. So they're saying that's good, that can stay. So let's look at this. Do I use my tape every day? Yes. Why? I use my tape if I'm putting things into the fridge or into the freezer with a mason jar or something. I will write what's on it on a piece of tape rather than write on the baggie or whatever, all right? So that's how I do it. So yes, that can stay out. Do I use my Kleenex every day? Yes. So that can stay there as well, all right? There's reason for it to be there. Now then, do I use my glasses in the kitchen every day? Okay, let's take all these out because there's more in here, I'm sure, right? The answer is yes. That can stay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. This is where it gets interesting, people. Right, so this is about 4 different pens. Do I use 4 pens every day? No. So what I can do is to put them away. This is a what do you call it? An erasable pen. Ink, I love that. And this is a permanent one. So I'm going to keep those. I've got a little spatula. Find that very useful. I do use it regularly. I have got, where was the paintbrush? Right, I have got a duster that's for cleaning around my laptop and around. Yes, I use that. Okay, now then, this is a paintbrush I use to get in crevices and things. Do I use it every day? No. So therefore I know it needs to be put away. This is another makeup brush type thing. And I don't know what it's doing in here. It's in the wrong room. So now we need to put this, right, things that don't belong in the room. This does not belong here. I don't do my blood sugar testing here anymore. So this can go in the dishwasher after the broadcast. And this can go in the garbage. Right, are you getting the idea? So now then, I have got 1, 2, 3 different Sharpies. One thin, one thicker. Do I use them regularly? Yes, to write on the tape. They can stay. However, I don't need 3 of them. This is a special pen. Jody's saying the paintbrush for crud is a really good idea. I want to tell you something. Paintbrushes are wonderful for getting crumbs out of crevices and things. So that's great. All right, so I've got one of these special things for using on your tablet or your devices, right? That stays. It has a place. It doesn't have to be out. It can go there. This is a nail file, clipper type stuff. Yeah, I'm keeping that. Oh, 1, 2, 2 more device things, but they belong there, not out. Now then, do I still need my Halloween stylus? Thank you, Joe. That's a good word for what I was trying to. This is a stylus. Do I still need my Halloween guys? Is it still Halloween time, do you think? Should I leave them around for ambiance? What do you think? Or do they go back in the cupboard? So this is purely decorative now. I've got a couple more. So, I think they need to get put away. So we'll put that away. I have got 2 different paper clips. They don't need to be out. They can be in the cupboard. This is a keychain. Goodbye. These are I have 2 different pairs of scissors in my kitchen. One in that drawer. This is my drawer where I keep my knives and forks and things. So I have 1 pair of scissors in there, and I keep another one because I use them for different reasons. All right, this is a nail file that can stay. Now this, this is a turkey wishbone. I wonder how long it's been there. All right. So obviously that can go. I was looking for this, and I thought it had gone the way of the fire. But this is a thermometer, which I actually wanted, and I don't know how the temperature is doing in your house, but mine's doing pretty well. So that is good. I wanted this in another room, so I'll put it with the things that are going to move to another room. I've got a highlighter. Good idea. Yes, I use a highlighter. I have a special place where I keep lids, so that's going to be tidied up. That's garbage. This is this is a plastic trowel spatula painting thing. And I've also got this one. So now I use these for very different reasons, all right? I am amazed how often I use this in the kitchen, and this one. So I'm going to keep those. This is a chalk pen that stays because I have a blackboard here. I've got some screws. They don't need to be in here. Nail file. And so this, if I put the papers back in here, a pencil, some tweezers, I'm going to put the duster back in the cupboard because that's where it normally lives. And then most of this is stuff that I will put into recycling and things after the broadcast. So there we go. But do you understand? The only things in this basket now are things I use on a daily basis. Was that quick? And did I find a present in there for me? Yes. So I want to tell you that I am amazed how well that system works. I can look at something on the counter and go, do I use this every day? And if the answer is no, then it needs to find a home. So now here's the next thing. And this is really interesting to me. If you get a sense of humor and you're enthusiastic about it rather than beat yourself up on it, what happens when you go, well, that needs to go in a drawer, but you haven't got any room in the drawer? All right. Let's say that, the idea is not to have too much. This is not a junk drawer, by the way. This is the drawer in which I keep all my mason jars and lids. I keep my rubber bands and so forth. I don't consider that to be junk. And I have little containers that I put them in, right? Reuse containers. And this one's got ties and rubber bands and stuff. They all go in there. They've all got a place. So the interesting thing to me is that I don't consider that to be a junk drawer. I consider that to be a drawer where I would go to find those things. All right. Now, what I'm left with is this. And this is one of two keyboards that I bought to work remotely. I think this one still works, but I need to test it. And obviously, I'm not using it attached to any of my devices. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been where it was. So what do I know? That needs to be checked to see if it's working. And if it is, attached to a device and put away. By the way, while I'm doing that, here's the second one. And I seem to remember that both of these worked for about a week. And then one of the keys stopped working. I bought a second one, or got them to send me a second one. And the same thing happened. So I knew not to buy it anymore. I'm pretty sure that those are going to go in the electrical recycling box, stuff that will go to the store. And I have that box, I have a box now where I put things like that. And then once it gets pretty full, then I will put it in my car and take it away. All right, so we've got paper, planners, paper, more planners, more planners. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of this to my desk area, and then I will sort through this. Why? I reuse the back of things. I think I've already done that here. All right. I don't throw paper away unless I've used both sides of it. How about you guys? So this looks like it's all been used on both sides. So this will go now. Because, I get multiple use out of paper. Do you know what I do with it next? You know, I have my kitchen waste here. All right. This is my kitchen waste in terms of eggshells, coffee grinds, everything else. But what I do is I put paper at the bottom of each of them so that it absorbs any moisture. So all I will do is literally just go like this. And, you know, now I've got moisture at the bottom. Moisture collector at the bottom. And sometimes I will get it half full and just add another layer. And then this goes into my compost, right? And as I said this on Friday, I want to tell you my life has changed since I've started getting these little containers. Why? I don't have any smelly stuff under my kitchen sink. Right? If it's organic, it goes in here and the lid closes and it's sealed. And this will last me about 2 or 3 days. And then I just put it, but it's been raining a lot, right? So it just goes out on my deck. And then I think it was yesterday that there was a break in the weather. I went out and I grabbed all my little containers like this and took them to the compost, emptied them out, came back, put them through the dishwasher, done. Now, I've also got 4 of these. Think about that. Do I need all 4 in the kitchen? No. What I've done is I've got this one, which is half full. So I've got the next one underneath it. That's all I'm keeping on my counter. To go back to the paper. So now the paper, I will go through, and if both sides have been used, I will rip it up and put that in my paper collection for my big compost. I have 2 different composts, one for my kitchen scraps, which I keep sealed, and then I have one for my garden stuff, which is the one where the extra paper will go. Does that make sense? And if you've got a collection, now then, what I do is this, you can see, has clean sides on it. So what I do, this is my stuff that I get from my grocery delivery. I get that every week. So what I do is I just and this only happens to my grocery ones, right? So here, these are my little notes for when I'm writing notes to myself. And as I said, I only do that to the ones that are from the grocery store. Why? If I did it with everything, I'd have so many notes. So you know that I've got a little place where I keep the note paper. You saw that earlier. So that's going to go there. Here's some more. And I have another little stack, you know, where my desk is as well. What a great idea. Jeannie's saying, I bought 2 big baskets at a yard sale. I keep them in my counter, on your counter, right? One for breads and crackers and the other for dog medication. Yes, keeps it nice and contained. But again, remember, if you don't use it every day, it shouldn't be on the counter. But it sounds to me like that stuff that you use every day. So what do I know? This paper needs to be sorted. And what I will do, the other thing I do is okay, this is part of planning thing. And I don't really do my planning stuff in the kitchen. I do it in my office. So all this is going to the office. And that's what I will do now is this goes to the office. This goes, we're going to put that away. This is nyaga nyaga. That's rubbish. That can go. Paper. All right, so basically, that didn't take very long. But I now know that this corner is done ready for Thursday. It looks nice and neat and tidy. Now, on the other side, I have another basket. That's the interesting thing. And the other basket that matches is also a white one like that, that matches the one that you've just seen. I know what I'm going to do with it. Why? Because when I finish the broadcast, I will close my laptop in the kitchen, and I'm going to, on Thursday, just put that whole basket. What has it got in there? Just so you know what's in here. It's got my dustbuster. It's what I call my electrical basket, right? It's got my dustbuster. It has got some recipes. That doesn't belong there. But it's got all the cords that connect all my devices, my earbuds, all sorts of things. Right? It's all electrical stuff in there. So what I will do on Thursday is I will close the laptop down and put the basket straight into the cupboard. What do you think? Done. And it's one of the things that I've learned to do, all right, which is that if you can put the whole basket away, even if you use it every day, but if you've got a basket like that and you can put a lot of things in it, it's easy to put the basket away, right? If you've got people coming. Now, I keep it out because I use it every day, all right? Everything that's in that basket, electrical, I use my charger for my phone every day, so that, is out all day. I use the charger for my tablet every day, so that's sort of thing. I use my dustbuster every day. So it all is stuff that I use every day, but it doesn't have to be out on show on Thursday when people come. So I'm going to put it all into the cupboard. Right. I hope that helped some of you. And what I also realize is that my fridge is probably, they're going to need to put wine and beers and stuff into my fridge when they arrive, right? Or do I just get a container and get a bag of ice and just go, okay, I thought what I would do is probably put all my drinks on top of my my big freezer, which is halfway in the house, right? And just go, okay, if you want to put your drinks anywhere, just put it on the freezer so that we can keep this end of the house for food. I don't know, that's what I was thinking. This idea of do you use it daily is a really good way to reduce the stress anywhere. I actually, in my kitchen, in my bathroom, Jody, you've also been working on this, I know. In my bathroom, the only things I try to have on my countertop when I finished in my bathroom is the soap. I've got a soap dispenser. Oh, and the water bottle that I take for my pills. I have a tall water bottle in my bathroom. 2 reasons. Number one, I use it. The water here, it comes out of a well and it's freezing cold. And so I know that from experience that that's really difficult on my teeth. So what I do is I have a bottle of water in my bathroom all the time. So I can take take my medication with room temperature water. But also I use it, I have this system where whenever I go to the washroom, on my way out of the washroom, I glug some more water. I'm trying to increase the amount of water I take. So I probably go through 1 bottle of water just going in and out of the bathroom. And I wonder if any of you have tried that. Jody's saying our problem is there's not enough space to store stuff out of sight. So that means it's time to downsize the stuff. That's what I was getting to, right? Remember, what if I haven't got enough room in this drawer to put more stuff away? That means I need to do the same thing with this drawer. And now what I would say, Jody, is look at the drawer and go, do I use this every week? And if I don't use it every week, where's it going to go? You see, that's what I'm starting to do. So that was actually just exactly what my next topic was. So once a week, if you only use it once a week, don't keep it on the counter, keep it in a drawer. All right? And if you haven't got enough room in your drawer, that means you've got stuff in there that you only use once a month or twice a week, twice a month. Or maybe you've got stuff in there you only use once a season. Is this making any sense? And so the fun part of it is, and I know if you went down to that bottom drawer there, that bottom drawer, that's where I've got stuff that I use very rarely. But does it really have to be in the kitchen? If I use it very rarely, could I not have one box somewhere in my house that contains stuff? And I'm thinking about a big box. That contains, it's a box like this that contains all those little bits that I only use once in a season, or even. Okay, what's Jody saying? Yes, once a month or a season. It can't be taking up that precious real estate in the kitchen. Yes, and you will be amazed. For example, Jody, do you see over there next to the paper towel? I've got some spatulas and things. All right, now. All those that are there, I know I use every single day. And I use one or two of them every single day. So they stay there. However, you can't see it, but yes, you can. In the cupboard, I've got a whole lot of spare ones. Does that make sense? But it's away. Now, I will use a lot of these on Thursday, right? Because they're big spoons and stuff. So they're things that I do use at least once or twice a week that I need more than I've got out. But I've got them in the cupboard below. However, you are probably not surprised to hear that in my spare room, I have another container and it's got more spoons and things like that. Why? When I entertain, you need extra spoons and things. But I don't keep them all in the kitchen anymore. I'm learning this one, Jody. This is new to me. All right. But boy, does it clean up a lot of real estate. So, Jody, I want you to look at your countertop. Can you see your countertop from where you are? And I'd like you all to think about this, right? What is on your countertop that you don't use on a daily basis? And so if you know you only use it once a month, you know it probably shouldn't even be in your kitchen. All right? Consider putting it in another room. How many of you have got precious real estate in your kitchen with, for example, the fondue pot or the pasta maker? And your chances are you haven't used those very often. What are they doing in your kitchen? Or consider putting them way up high in a container, in a cubie or something way up high. All right. So when you do want them, if you've got room above your kitchen cupboards, make sure that is well-used counter space. There should be no gaps, up high. All right. Jody's saying no, she can't see her kitchen from there. But there are extra products like baking stuff and utensils and a few pans. Yes. Jody, I recently cleared out my warming drawer. All right. I was quite surprised. You remember I said I didn't pull out the oven I just pulled out the whole of the warming drawer and cleaned everything, because that saves me having to pull the whole oven out. But before I put the warming drawer back in again, I then went through, what do I use on a weekly basis, right? And I've still got too much in there. But look at it. I can actually open it. Things are not falling out. I've got muffin pans. I've got ice cube trays in there. And I've got, basically it's muffins and a couple of roasting pans, all right? And then I put the thinner ones, extra ones, underneath my Lazy Susan. There's a little bit of space under my Lazy Susan. So I slid a couple of loaf pans and things that are low underneath there. Works really well. So, and then anything else? What about, let's talk about this. What about the stress of all the Christmas stuff? All right, your Christmas baking molds, your chocolate making molds, let's think, what else do those I no longer keep in my kitchen. They are all in a box called Christmas baking. And that box will come out of my shed. Literally, I don't even have it in the house. That will come out of my shed towards probably in the next couple of weeks. All right, as I start getting things ready for Christmas time. And then when I finish the Christmas baking, all that stuff goes back in the box and back into the shed. Why? All those Christmas molds, chocolate molds and things like that, I know I don't use them except at Christmas time. So if you don't have a shed, if you don't have that availability, what I would suggest is get yourself some, start working on getting some containers, either see-through or not, it's up to you. And, they all are the same size so that you end up and go to the ceiling with them. You know why? Because the most wasted space is from your waist up to the ceiling in any room. Yes, Jody's saying the seasonal stuff is another level of where can I store this or shove it out of sight. Yep. And that's why I'm saying to you that if you just get the seasonal stuff out of your kitchen, and literally if you look at any drawer, my top drawer here, I'm really quite proud of myself. I've got a couple of straws because I use them for my smoothies. Got my measuring cups in here. I've got obviously my knives, forks, spoons. I have the equipment that I use regularly, the ice cream scoop because I allow myself ice cream. My peelers, they're all there. And basically, the stuff here I use just about every day. In here are the stuff that I use less than every day. In fact, I could probably halve what's in that second and third drawer if I needed the space. But now you know how to do it, right? If I needed more space in there, I need to take it out and go, what's in here that I don't use once a month? And I bet you there's some stuff in there that I don't use once a month. And if you kept doing that on a seasonal basis, that you emptied the drawer and go, okay, fine, what don't I use once a month? You would end up with a box of stuff that you use less than once or twice a year. And you probably still don't want to get rid of it because it's useful stuff, but don't keep it in your kitchen. As you say, that's prime real estate. The idea of having baskets, Jeannie mentioned having baskets. Or I like having a basket that contains, as I said, my pens and stuff, my tape and my notepad and my facial tissue. I like having a basket where I know I throw all the electrical stuff in there. That keeps it all contained. I know where to look for it. So this is a really great idea to have a couple of these. For example, we know that I've got all sorts of crud here that is now cluttering up my counter. Okay. And then what I'm doing is I'm just throwing it into this container. It's bigger than I need, but it's stuff I've got to sort out after the broadcast. And how will I do it? Every time I'm going to be probably binge watching something this evening, but every time I go for a washroom break, I now have this new system where I come back to my kitchen and I will start emptying that. All right. Every time I come in to grab something to drink or something to eat, I will go, okay, I know where that goes. It goes into the electrical recycling. And the next time I'll pull out the paper and take it to the study. Am I making sense? But I don't have to do it all. I just keep it in a nice container like this, and it's all under control. Now, what happens if I haven't got it all sorted by Thursday? The whole container goes under my bed. All right. That's plan B. What if I haven't emptied that container by Thursday? All right. So I have a small shoebox sitting on my dining room table at the moment. There were bits on the countertop here that I didn't want to have on the countertop for the broadcast. And so I just literally grabbed a shoebox and throw everything in, clean up the countertop. I can, that'll be part of what I do this evening. By the way, great achievement. Can you see that I finished building 2 units here, and I've got another one built further down the bookcase, right? So that's looking quite organized now. And I'm just beginning to declutter the shelves ready for Thursday. And I'll be doing that, each time I come into, that's part of the rotation, right? Go to the washroom, come to the kitchen, put some things away, go to the dining room, tidy up a bit, and go back and finish and watch the next episode of whatever it is I'm watching. And I want to tell you, I'm getting there. I'm quite surprised how far I've got. I'm really found an interesting thing happen about the stress. What am I going to do with all the paint cans that I'm going to use when I eventually get unpacked in the studio? And there wasn't a right place to put them in the studio, even though I had all those cubies in there. And what I realized was I had the right place in my craft room. There was part of a bookcase that the bottom half didn't have shelves in it, and I could actually stack the big paint cans that I've got up in there. And I thought, something? It's in the wrong room, but does it matter? No. My house, I can put them wherever I like. The other thing is, they don't look pretty. And I went, so what do you need? I took a piece of art and put it in front of the paint cans. So I've got a piece of artwork that I've done, and it's just leaning up against the paint cans. So when you look at that area, what you see is a piece of art. You don't see the paint cans. I know what's behind it. That works for me. So, well, Jeannie, I'm learning. All right. I assure you that this cupboard where I've got the laptop at the moment, this needs sorting out, but I will not create stress doing it. Probably after the event, when nothing's going to happen this week. Why? I've got this function on Thursday, and then I've got the celebration of life on Friday. This week is, going to be full of other stuff. I don't need to be resorting what's here, but it desperately needs it. But what I will do is take everything off one shelf and go through it. Why is it in this cupboard? I obviously want to keep it close. And then I go, do I need it in this cupboard? I have got, for example, just so you know, high up, obviously, two different blood glucose testing kits. Do I need them in this cupboard? Now, you already know where my blood glucose testing kit is. It's in my craft room. So what do I know? They don't need to be here, right? They can go into my deep storage. Do I want to throw them away? No, I don't want to throw them away. Because if I run out of the other ones for some reason, they break or whatever, I've still got spares, right? You remember an air and a spare. Hi, Kez. All right, here we go. See, now people are getting creative. I love this. This is why I love doing Dear MamaSal. Kez is saying, hi, another way, to clear countertop space, still have everyday utensils and cooking supplies, spices, etc. Use a magnet shelf system with a rail on the side of the fridge. Yes, I've seen that. Very good idea. I don't have room at the side of my fridge. My fridge just goes exactly in. But if you have that, it's a great idea to, if you've got this much space next to your fridge, I don't. I've got this much space next to my fridge. But if you've got this much space, you can buy now magnetic shelves. I saw that this week. And that's a really good idea. The other thing is, you will know, I think you guys know that I keep my, all my big knives, I keep in the tiny little space between my countertop, right, and my dough scraper, right, and then on this side, I keep my steak knives, right? So, because if you've got one of those butcher block things that you put your knives in, that's valuable real estate, right? So now can you see how I use that there? That's that tiny space between my oven and the countertop. It's perfect for knives. The only thing is, if you have a house and you're going to put it on show, make sure you take your knives away and put them away. You never want to have carving knives out when a realtor's trying to show your house. Think Bates Hotel. Okay. So the whole thing about, do you think I like organizing stuff? The answer, if you had asked, I'm busy tidying up as I talk to you now. The answer I would have given, you a while ago, these don't need to be in here. They're spares, they can go in. Yeah. I would have said no, but now, as you can probably see, it's become a little bit of a game with me, and it actually gives me joy. All right. I mean, I can open up a drawer and I'm pretty organized. I can open up this drawer. Oh, this is, I reuse my plastic bags. I used to have them all drying everywhere. I now throw my plastic bags into a drawer to dry. All right. If I literally will just let them dry in the drawer, I'll turn them inside out, and then the next day turn them the other way. And then, after a while, they're dry. So then I put them away. That's a really good drawer, nice and deep. And then in the bottom here, I've got my saucepans and things. So I want to tell you that some of you saw what I did. And this is something I want you to think about. Same principle, all right? How many herbs and spices have you got that you don't use every day? Probably a lot. But I have a spice drawer. Wait a minute. Kez is saying about the knife idea is a really great one because it also helps stops food from dropping down there and contracting bugs. Absolutely. I I found it now. I will take my oven out once a year and clean down the sides. By the way, Kez, I rinse off my knives if I've just used them, to cut a piece of bread. I don't put them in the dishwasher anymore. I rinse them off and I just put them and let them drip dry where they are, where they live. Does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying? My mason jars, I will quite often, if I've just rinsed them out because they haven't got very much in them, they had grains in them or something, and I'll rinse them out and I'll just put them in the drawer to dry. All right, I'm trying to get really clever about these things. Now, just before I go, you understand I've got a lot of crud still on my shelves here in my dining room. All right. And what I will decide is, what do I want to keep out? Do I need every ornament that I own out on display? I have a realtor friend, some of you have met her, Patty, and she taught me a really good trick, which is think about keeping your ornaments for seasons, right? Like your clothes. So maybe you have certain ornaments that you only display as the change of season. So, in autumn, you put out certain things. In spring, you put out certain things. And if you did that, how much room would you have made available, and how clean would your house look? That you're not trying to display everything all the time. I wanted to go back to this idea because I did show it to you sometime. I was noticed that my spice drawer was just getting overwhelmed, and I didn't have room for anything else. Number one thing is, do you use everything every week? And if not, put it away. So I have, you can't see it, but above the microwave, I have some containers. I have some containers that I keep what I call some bulk stuff in, right? I've got, cilantro and stuff I've dried in here, black pepper, all sorts of stuff, right? But I keep them high up, out of the way, in a cupboard. But I know I've got them when I need them. Some dried carrots here, some dried peas. All right, that's my dried food stuff. And in this container, I have, spare salt, spare icing sugar, cinnamon, whole cloves, because I buy in bulk, cumin. I could keep going down, but I can see ginger, and so forth, right? So this is shop in your own pantry stuff here. So I buy in bulk, but I don't keep it in my spice drawer. I keep it, this is my bulk, my personal bulk spice drawer, spice shop here. Does that make sense? And how often do I need to go to it? Only when one of these empties. So, the other thing I found, and that really was a game changer for me, is that if these get to be half full, I decant them into smaller ones. Like you can buy them at the dollar store. And that way, you'll be amazed how many of your spice jars are half full. And in fact, it's not a bad idea to actually, keep a box of the rest of it away and just use this amount of each spice, right? How much, and you could put that, somewhere, the stuff that you use every day, just so easy, you just, clip it. So this is about enthusiasm. I have to have enthusiasm to declutter, right? If I'm not enjoying it, then it won't happen. It hasn't happened in a lifetime. It's the first time in my life that I've really wanted to be organized. And it'll take me the rest of my life to get organized, but I'm really enjoying the process. And how do you think it feels when I go, okay, just in a couple of minutes, I know all this stuff was in my kitchen and it's about to leave. I'm trying to work out, about half of what's in this cupboard can go. And when it does, I can put, the stuff that I've got in a more obvious place. And it can make sense. What happened was when I first moved in here, I used this cupboard as my study, all my study stuff, but I don't need it anymore. Why? I've got my craft room set up and that's where I do my admin. So I can start moving stuff out of the kitchen again and into there. What did you enjoy about today's broadcast? What, if anything, made you realize that if I'm not using it every day, why is it on my countertop? Yes, Jody. Jody's saying, and this is the whole thing, Jody's saying, isn't it the key? How wonderful that you can enjoy the process instead of dreading it. Jody, you will know from what you managed to do in your bathroom. All right. How many things did you really have to move? How long did it take you to get your bathroom looking the way that you wanted it to, because you wanted to put in your new cabinet? Was it an hour's work when you really look at it, or was it 3 days? All right. What's the answer? I'm pretty sure you know that to pull everything out of this cupboard and put it onto this table on countertop, not this week, definitely not this week, would probably, and then sort through it, would probably take me 10 minutes. Sorting it into different containers would take longer, right? It's the sorting of it. But what I will do is literally take this container now. Think about this, Jody. I will now take this container to my study and take out whatever belongs in the study. All right? Then I will take this container to that area where I've got electrical stuff to be recycled and empty that stuff in there. Then I will take it into my bedroom. And in my master bathroom, I've got a big storage cupboard where I keep medicinal things and stuff from, extra stuff. All my bulk paper towels and stuff are in there. These are going in there. That's where they belong. They don't belong in the kitchen. And they don't have to be neatly on show. There's a box that has got, all my testing equipment in it. Jody's saying, I'm loving your tips on organizing those precious kitchen spaces. We have so little because our home is over 100 years old and lacking a lot of storage space. Every day is under 10 minutes. All right, initially, it was just to clean up things, yes. And initially, it was a few hours to get up to speed. I hate to admit it, Jody, but it's true. To clean up my kitchen before a broadcast, you know what I do now, right? First of all, I have Thursday evening as the day I clean my kitchen. Does that make sense? Right? Because I'm going to be doing broadcasts on Friday, right? So Thursday evening, while I'm binge watching, every time I come into the kitchen, and I start at one part of it, Jody. I start at one end and I just systematically work my way around, pushing everything this way and then into the dishwasher. Does that make sense? And then everything goes boom, 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 and into the dishwasher. And then I turn the dishwasher on. But by the time I've done it, I've got totally clean countertops. Now, this morning, when I got ready to do the broadcast, I had choices. There were some things on my countertop that I could have spent the time putting away properly, but quite honestly, that would have been stressful. So what I did, I went and got a shoebox and I hucked everything that was there and I put it all in a shoebox. Guess what? It's now going to get sorted out this evening. Plan B, if I need to, it can all go under my bed. All right, if somebody suddenly arrives, I can literally pick that up and stick it under my bed, and they will never know that I'm busy working through that. But can you also see that everything in these boxes belong in different rooms in the house? So I don't empty it again. I just take the whole lot from room to room, and I empty what belongs in that room. And you know that in the middle of my house, I've got my freezer. What will happen is during the day, I will have these boxes on the freezer. So every time I go towards the bedroom, I will look in here and go, is there anything here that needs to go in the bedroom? Or if I'm going into the laundry, is there anything in these boxes that needs to go in the laundry? Does that make sense? And by the end of the day, it's amazing. The thing is empty. I feel so clever because I haven't actually spent time organizing. I've just been going, I literally will put them on my freezer like this and I'll go, oh yeah, I'm going to the washroom. I'll take these with me. And the next time I'm going into the bedroom again, that's where the box is for the recycling of the electronics. Let me put those in there. Means nothing. It doesn't take. I'm glad that it helped. And you understand, if you're doing it with enthusiasm and having fun at it, do you think I have great joy looking at the places I've tidied up? I'm almost at the stage where any minute now, I'm going to be able to clean up enough in my studio that I can start packing the cubies and also then bring in the Christmas stuff. All right. So the other thing, I'm pleased to tell you that my international cards are now ready to go, and they all will go into the mail on the 13th. These are my overseas ones, not the US ones, but the overseas ones. I'm that organized now. Yes, very good point. Kez is saying, Jody, you should check out mobile homes on YouTube. They have great storage and multi-purpose furniture and tips that will be useful for your small house. Yes. The other thing is, if you've got a very small kitchen, get things that are collapsible, right? If you've got wherever possible. That's what I learned from having a mobile home, right? Collapsible things. I've got collapsible buckets. I've got collapsible strainers and things. All right, that's why. By the way, that's one thing I also learned. I see my big strainer as a container for smaller ones. So normally it must be in the dishwasher at the moment, but I have this strainer. I have another strainer, and you all met this nut strainer. And then on top of that goes my measuring thing. But they're all contained within that space, right? So think how to do that. If you've got saucepans with nothing in them, taking up space, think about that. Use your saucepans because you don't use them all every day. Use them as containers. But that you can open the lid, pull whatever is in there out, use the saucepan. And when you finish with it, put it back wherever it was and put the stuff back in. I hope that makes sense. I keep my potatoes in a drawer now. I keep some fresh vegetables on my countertop. That is a spaghetti squash, and there is an onion on my countertop. They can go in the drawer for Thursday. I keep them out there so I remember to use them. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, enthusiasm is really important in our lives. It's not about what we do as much as how we do it. If I thought I had to spend the next 3 days cleaning up, ready for these people to arrive, I wouldn't enjoy it. I'm not doing that. Every day for the last week, I've been doing little bits in every room. All right? And the only room I have left to finish is my dining room area. And I've got the table half laid already. And that'll be finished by tomorrow, probably. This is Dear Mama Sal going one step at a time. Make it fun. And if they want to judge me, let them. Because they've all been in their houses a long time. And we're still working on mine and learning and enjoying the process, quite honestly. So love you dearly, everybody. Hope this has helped you a little bit and inspired you just a little bit. It's a whole new process for me, not something I grew up doing. I'm just learning how to do it now. And it definitely is bringing me a lot more joy. There are times, and the other thing I did, Clarence, I've got a robot cleaner. Every single night this week, he will be working. All right. I normally don't set him going at night. I only just use him once or twice, about once a week I use him. But this week, he's going to go every night. Because if I send him going every night, then I'm pretty sure that by Thursday, this house will be pretty darn clean on the floor level. Does that make sense? And also, if I do it every night, there'll be less collecting in his little container. Last night, for example, I let him run for an hour, emptied the container, and then sent him going for the next hour. But it's just like, if I do it every single night, it's going to be a lot cleaner all round. And it's pretty darn clean right now. I'm happy. See you in a week. No broadcast on Friday. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, love you dearly. Our stress is up to us. It's how we look at things that causes us stress. And it's what we do about them that relieves our stress. You can have fun. Put one thing away. Just look at one countertop and go, what don't I use every day? And let me put it in a drawer. Oh, there's not enough room in the drawer. Then let me take one thing out of the drawer to make room and put it in another room. Because it doesn't belong in the kitchen. Bye-bye for now. Thanks, Jody.